I said, obviously, we didn't get the start we wanted. Unfortunately, put ourselves a little bit on the back foot, and went in at half time quite far behind on the scoreboard. But overall assessment is I'm incredibly proud of the guys. I mean, having not played for so long, and I don't want to keep going on about that, but the most important thing for us this week was to stay in the fight, knowing what a good quality team this was, how well coached they would be. And I think the guys did that. I feel, my initial instinct is that the guys showed a huge amount of fight and a huge amount of courage. And I think as that happened, the confidence grew, and the more the confidence grew, which is what you really want to get from not from playing regularly, which we haven't done. And then the more we played and the more the confidence grew, then things started getting better. But technically, there were a lot of errors, and we knew there would be. And at least we've got something to work off now. But by and large, very proud of the guys. Very proud of the effort.
Thanks, Coach. Okay, Joe Harvey, I know you have a couple questions, so feel free to jump in.
Hi Gary, how are things?
Very well, Joe. Good to see you.
See you too. Obviously, quite a short turnaround from arriving in the UK to actually playing a game. How happy have you been with kind of the performance that's put out there, given the fact that it was such a short turnaround?
No, very, very happy, and I saw on the first day of training, the intent and the enthusiasm and excitement that the guys, showed um, within the squad and on the training field about getting back into camp. And that's always an encouraging sign to see. I mean, as a coach, that's almost one of the most difficult things to get right. And we, thanks to Bryce and the leadership group, and even guys that weren't here like AJ McGinty. AJ had such a role to play, and in the build up and how we were preparing via Zoom and from all across the world. So there was just a huge excitement, and I was just really hoping for the guys to unleash and actually feel that they could play without shackles. And I just felt that they put themselves under too much pressure. But again, the way the game started to turn, as I said earlier, they got a lot more confidence. So yeah, no, it was a very tough week. It was a very, very tough week. It was, coaching wise, it was one of the biggest challenges I've had. But thank goodness we've just got an amazing group of guys who just buy in.
And was there any particular aspect of your play today that you were really happy with? Obviously, because I think one area that was pretty good on the whole was the scrum. Maybe like over time didn't go too well, but obviously with Neil Hadley there, short period of time seems to have done something.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, the coaches were outstanding in their application this week. Chris Wiles, Neil Hatley, and Rob Hoadley were absolutely next level, and they bring a huge amount of experience. I think we've spoken in the build-up as well. Is one of the things, through absolutely no fault of anybody. I still don't think that as a group we're fit enough yet, and we wouldn't be because we don't play this level of team this regularly. And the more we get these opportunities, the fitter we'll become. And I think our fitness fell off a little bit, and we started off well at scrum time, and then we really did fall off. But areas that I was pleased with, I think the line out functioned relatively well. Again, coming up against a very good line out, and I knew that Charlie Yules would run a very good line out as well. By and large, I think our collision work was good in the contact, and I think when we did hold on to the ball in slippery conditions, we were able to score some tries, and that's very exciting. I mean, to put to put nearly 30 points in England is no mean feat at Twickenham.
Cheers, Gary. All the best.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Gary. All right, next we've got Nick Purewell. Nick, you can jump in with your question.
Thanks very much. Gary, congratulations on the performance. Like some people were pointing out, you managed to win the second half. I mean, how much encouragement do you take from that? Because obviously not necessarily an easy thing to do. And like you said, on it being the first game back in a while, how much growth do you think you've got as a group moving forward quickly now?
I'm very encouraged. I'm very encouraged because of under the circumstances and the adversity that we went through. I mean, even as close as yesterday losing Will Hooley, who's got premiership experience and has obviously just come from Saracens, and that on top of AJ and TT and Paul Asike, which is we wanted to rely on the Premiership experience and the guys who played against these guys. So, I mean, things, they could have gone belly up. 29-3 down at half time. Other teams may have or would have given up the fight. And that was just the goal we set ourselves going into the week, was to not give up on the fight and stick to our process. And I know it sounds terribly cliche, but we knew what we wanted to do, and we worked hard with the guys to say to them, just forget about the scoreboard. It doesn't matter, and until it does matter. And then at the end, obviously, they carried on the fight, and I thought the bench, brought a huge amount of energy when they came off the bench, and they slotted into the team, and I'm hugely encouraged, because a couple of these guys weren't initially supposed to be on tour. So I think today the other thing I'm very encouraged about is hopefully it showed the world that the MLR is really going in the right direction, and that it's helping us, be able to prepare our players in a better way.
Thanks, Gary. Thanks, Nick. Okay, we're going to jump to Sam, by the way, but Sam, before you jump in with your question, just everyone, if you have a question, please drop it in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to finish up with the final two. Sam, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Gary. Obviously, you've got Neil Hatley involved in coaching. Kind of, how did that come about, and what does he bring to the coaching setup?
Very, very quickly, obviously Neil's the head coach at Bath, and is still. Basically what happened is when the fixtures were finally announced, we realised we had a clash with the MLR, and Sean Pittman is our forwards coach, so he wasn't available. And then just because of logistics, etc., I know Neil very well. We've worked together for many, many years, and I think he's absolutely world-class individual, and he is a world-class coach. And I just asked if he'd step in for 2 weeks, which we're very privileged that he did, and it's been an amazing experience for our players, to have experienced a coach of Neil's ability.
Thanks, Gary. Thanks, Sam. All right, we're going to jump to Hugh Godwin, and then one last one after that.
Hello, Gary. How are you doing?
Very well, and you, Hugh?
Very well, thanks. Very well. Just wondered the success that you had with your maul, your driving maul against England, their maul defence. Were you surprised at that? Was something you prepared for? Did Neil Hatley pick that one out for you?
We knew that there would be a very good driving team, and that they'd be very good in their maul defence as well. We actually haven't been a bad mauling team, so it was something that we did want to hang our hat on a little bit. But yes, obviously as the forwards coach, Neil was tremendously helpful, particularly around the smaller detail around setting the maul and what we were looking to do. And no, I'm not necessarily surprised. I mean, it's if you get a maul set, it's a difficult thing to stop no matter who you play against. And I think England mauled against us a couple of times and obviously hurt us, and vice versa. But again, from our point of view, as I said earlier, today was really about us putting some pretty basic things into place and hopefully getting a reward for it.
Thanks, Gary. Thanks, Hugh. Final question from Natalie Osborne.
Hi there. Yeah, just wondering, obviously you said it was a difficult first half. What was the attitude like in the dressing room at half time, and what was actually said to spur on a rather fiery start to the second half?
Yeah, well, I would love to take credit for that, but I'm afraid it's definitely not me. No, I just think this, the player group got in at half time. There wasn't panic. They were very calm. We addressed, the assistant coaches with Chris Wiles, Rob and Neil addressed one or two technical things that we thought we had got wrong around defence, and where we had made a couple of technical errors. We spoke about hopefully trying to eliminate that, a little bit more around our game management that I thought can definitely be a lot better than it was today. And then it was just a conversation about what we're going to do for the next 40 minutes. I think we realised that, as I said earlier, teams could roll over there, and at 29-3 it could get very, very messy. would love to have not conceded, 45 points. And we've got to be honest, we were a little bit lucky as well with that try not being allowed and Mikey being taken out in the air. So it could have been 50, and then it just doesn't look good. But, they're a quality outfit, and it was just, as I said earlier, it was just really important that we didn't stop playing. We didn't go into our shells. We didn't, we didn't give up the fight. And the leadership group was outstanding. Bryce, Mikey Teo, Cam, Nick Savetta, they knew that we had a plan, and if we didn't execute it, we're going to be in trouble. And when we do execute it, then we can be quite a good team.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Coach Gold. All right, everyone, that's going to wrap up the USA side of press conferences. If you do have additional requests for players or coaches, please send those to myself. I'll put my email in the chat, and we can look to facilitate that early next week. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.